Sam Kennedy talking about some stuff. But before I actually get to those comments that he made, I want to dive into these comments that he made last year. Let's bring up some good memories, shall we? I mean, we were all going absolutely crazy at some of these comments last year. But remember last year, he said this, quote, "I don't really even know how to define all in," when he was asked about the 2024 season. "Maybe it's just because on the inside, we feel like we're all in every year in terms of the work and the preparation and the commitment and the dedication. So I feel like we're all in from that perspective each and every year." That sounded like the biggest nothing burger I had ever heard in my entire life. I didn't hear anything about free agency, anything about big trades, nothing. That sounded like the most public relation kind of statement you could make without having to say, we're probably not going to spend all that much this year. And then remember, we saw a little later on in the offseason here, in January, right? We're sitting on our hands waiting to see if anything would happen. And Sam Kennedy had put out there that he expected the Red Sox payroll to be lower in 2024 than it was in 2023. At that point, we pretty much just gave up on the offseason. Jordan Montgomery came around. Sorry to bring up bad memories about that. But yeah, much different words from Sam Kennedy last offseason. But then we got this. Like I said, we had been hearing things from agents out there. We'd been hearing, different little whispers out there. We've been hearing, John Heyman, John Morosi, Jeff Passan, all of them saying they think the Red Sox are going to be stepping it up this offseason. So Sam Kennedy is at the owners' meetings, right? We did hear some things from Hal Steinbrenner about Juan Soto. We'll get to those comments in just a little bit here. But Sam Kennedy, he talked a little bit about this Red Sox offseason. And man, oh man, I just showed you those comments from last offseason. These comments are way different. I'm actually glad I pulled up the comments from last year. It says here, if the Sox are unable to snag Soto, a sense of extreme urgency internally is driving the team to spend elsewhere on players who can yank the club out of a multi-year occupancy in the mire of mediocrity. Even if it takes us over the CBT, said Kennedy, referring to the first threshold of the competitive balance tax that stands at $241 million. Our priority is 90 to 95 wins and winning the American League East and winning the division for multiple years. Don't those comments sound so much different than the ones that I just showed you? I mean, that's a complete shift. I mean, everything about that just sounds completely different. Those are the kind of comments that you want to hear. Those are the words you want to hear come out of that man's mouth. You don't want to be hearing all these nothing burgers coming from him. You don't want to be hearing lower payroll. That is what we wanted last offseason. That is what we've been just striving for the last, 3 years now. And they finally said it. Now, I'll dive into this a little bit deeper. Let's go over the rest of these comments. Now, he did provide some more interesting golden nuggets. Could the team afford another mega deal? Is that possible? He says. If that's what it takes, yeah, absolutely, Kennedy said. We are investing more than we did last year. We intend to invest going forward. Those are the comments that we want to hear. We've been waiting for those. Says after this, there is an extreme urgency. Let's just take a little dive back at the ones that he made last year. I don't really even know how to define all in. He didn't even know what all in meant last year. My goodness, how things can change. There is an extreme urgency. So he went from saying he didn't know what all in was to now saying there's an extreme urgency. There is an extreme urgency internally to be competing for the American League East Championship and to set ourselves up for a deep postseason run in 2025 without question. The goal is to win 90-plus games, to not be worrying about a wild card spot. We've been waiting for this, everybody. This is what we've been waiting for. I've been a Red Sox fan. I'm not going to sit here and sound like, I'm Gandalf the Grey, that I'm, such a veteran when it comes to being a Red Sox fan. Yeah, I've loved the Red Sox now for, going back to when I was a wee little lad, in the late 90s, right? Over almost 25 years of being a fan, over 25 years of being a fan. I've seen all the comments, from going all the way back, right, to the early 2000s, things that Theo Epstein would say, John Henry, all of them, right? You would hear these kind of words all the time, and you just weren't hearing these words in the last few years. And we were, everyone's been saying, where are the Red Sox? We are the Boston Red Sox, Yeah. The Yankees. Obviously, the Yankees are the Yankees, right? They got tons of money. But the Red Sox over the years have built up, right, this value, this worth. They are one of the richest sports franchises out there. I mean, are they at the level of the Yankees? No, but they're definitely up there. I mean, they have built this value here. They should be going out there and spending the money. A part of me almost I kind of like the mix of going out there, spending on a couple of guys, right? Writing the checks, but also mixing in good player development at the same time. I'm not the biggest fan of going out there and, buying a World Series. In a way, I can respect it. I respect the commitment to winning. I'm more of a fan that likes that mix. But that's what I've liked about a lot of those Red Sox championships. If you've had that good mix, I'm not saying you need to go out there and, go get Juan Soto and Corbin Burns and Blake Snell, throw in Teoscar. I'm not saying you got to go spend $1 billion every single offseason like the Dodgers did last offseason, right? I'm not saying you have to do that, but go out there and go get a guy, right? Lucas Giolito. Lucas Giolito last year should have been, fourth highest signing, right? They should have added at least a couple more guys on top of that. Giolito was an okay ad, but that was all you did? Got to do more than that, all right? But we'll dive more into the player development side of things in a little bit. But again, extreme urgency. That is the two key words that I got from this, right? There was also another little tidbit here saying that the meeting with Scott Boras, Juan Soto, went very well. I mean, we've already seen the comments saying that it was a productive meeting, that they, talked about a lot of things when it came to the future of the franchise, their commitment to winning, that he was impressed with the meeting, right? They dove into a lot of the history of the Dominican Republic and the players that have hailed from there, like the greats like David Ortiz, Pedro, Manny, So yeah, overall sounded like a pretty productive meeting, but Sam Kennedy adding himself that it went very well, right? Asked more about Juan Soto. I'm not allowed to talk about the player, but it's going to be that person's decision. And then we got another juicy little piece. Who knows what this was? We don't know, right? The interview was interrupted in the middle by a phone call from David Ortiz. Yes, that David Ortiz. Kennedy did not divulge what the two spoke about, but he appeared quite pleased by the conversation. Now, I don't have a clip anywhere of, what he looked like. Was there a big smile? I don't know. Felt a little interesting that David Ortiz was calling in this, exact moment. Who knows what that was, but, it can't hurt at the end of the day. But he goes on to say here, look, we have to add. And that's what we're trying to do. But I think we're in a good position to add right now. We need more pitching, front of the rotation guys, and bullpen. We feel good about our positional core. We really do. A high priority is pitching, but everything and anything's on the table for us. Free agency, trades, promotions from the minor leagues. Oh, these words are just beautiful, right? Words are words at the end of the day. Listen, I'm glad we got the words. At least we got some words, right? You are going to have to follow this up with the actions, right? At the end of the day, talk is cheap, right? I'm glad we got them. It's nice. It's a step in the right direction, but they're going to have to follow through. But listen, when you make statements like this, when you use the phrase extreme urgency, And you also, what the heck just happened to the article? But when you also, what just happened? Here we go. But when you also throw in something like, when asked about another mega deal, saying, is that possible? And then you say, if that's what it takes, yeah, absolutely. That's what I want to hear. What it takes. That is the difference right there. 3 words have a lot of weight. You don't make those kind of statements if you don't plan on doing something big, right? Or multiple bigger kind of moves, right? When I say make something happen pretty big, Juan Soto, right? Bigger kind of moves, Teoscar Hernandez, Blake Snell, right? Kind of stuff like that, right? I think either way, we would be happy. Getting to the end of the article here. Says here, Kennedy expressed characteristic optimism about the team's fortunes, about how the team's fortunes seem destined to change. In our free agency discussion so far, there has been, I would say, a very strong feeling from agents and players that the Boston Red Sox are going to be a force over the next 5 to 7 years. Given the guys who have already emerged at the big league level and the guys who are coming from the AAA and levels below that level. Goes on to say here, to reach the team's goal of winning the division and hopefully winning a World Series at least once over the next 4 seasons. That's going to take shrewd investment in free agency. It's going to take shrewd trades. And it's going to take really disciplined and dedicated player development from the major leagues on down, improving guys at the big league level as well as guys throughout the minor league system. Listen, this is the key word that I took from this. Investment. Investment, right? That makes me think of Juan Soto, to be completely honest with you, right? When I'm thinking of investment, if there's one guy out there, if you're looking to increase the value of Fenway Sports Group, yes, increase your chances of winning. But we got to remember here, ladies and gentlemen, this is a business too, all right? There is a business side of it. And if you're looking to make an investment to increase the value of Fenway Sports Group, not just next year, but 5 years from now, 10 years from now, a guy like Juan Soto is going to increase the value. That's the kind of investment that I think of, right? Now, of course, I'm not sitting here, saying we're going to land the big fish. I'm not saying we're going to sit here and land Juan Soto. I mean, obviously, a lot needs to go right for that to happen. You never know. Everyone goes into an offseason thinking they're experts, including myself. But what do I know? I'm just the doofus that sits at my desk. I don't know anything. I just give my opinion. I get, based off of what I've seen over the last, 25 years or so, right? I do my best and I try to have fun with it at the end of the day. However, everyone comes into the offseason thinking they're an expert. Everyone's already saying Juan Soto's going to the Mets. You got a good amount of people saying he's going to go back to the Yankees, right? You've even got Dodger fans lately saying, oh, yeah, Dodgers, they're in. He's a Dodger, right? You never know how these things can work, right? When you got negotiations that come into play, yeah. The Mets, they've already come out and pretty much, I guess Michael Kay was saying the other day that, the Mets, they're going to go $50 million over what the next offer is, right? I've actually been reading some stuff out there. I wonder, a part of me wonders, I know this might sound weird, right? I know this might sound off. I wonder, I don't know. I wonder if the Mets could maybe shoot themselves in the foot with that kind of a statement, right? Because I guess I just wonder at the end of the day what Sam Kennedy said. It's his decision at the end of the day. He needs to not just be given a ton of money. He's going to get a lot of money no matter where he goes. He needs to be sold on the organization. He needs to be sold on the future, the direction of the organization. If the Mets can persuade him into saying, hey, we got this. We're going to be delivering a championship here in the next 5 years. We're going to be having sustained success. David Stearns has come into the fold, and he has really gotten this organization back on track. We feel good about our player development. We've been getting some guys ready here that are getting close to Major League ready. We feel good about our future, right? If Soto buys into that, yes, you are going to have to give the man a very good offer at the end of the day, right? You're going to have to throw down the big bucks, but you also got to sell the man on the vision, right? Everyone's saying he's going to go to the highest offer. Could he? I mean, sure, right? I will say this. I think if the Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, Phillies, whatever, if any team is close to the Mets, I do think the Mets will have the highest offer. I think that's fine. But let's say a team like the Yankees, Red Sox, Phillies, Dodgers, let's say they're close. They're in striking distance, right? But Soto feels better about the words that he was hearing, about the presentations, about the being sold on their vision, their organization. Why can't other teams have a chance, right? Sure, yeah, the Mets, yeah, let's say they throw down $700 million. Let's say the Yankees, whoever, they throw down $680. All right, listen, we can do $680, but this is our vision, right? Why couldn't they? I mean, whatever. He could take a little less. Maybe they work something else out to where, I don't know. Maybe they can get it even a little closer to what the highest offer would be, probably from the Mets. Now, again, I'm getting off track here, but I think of the word investment, and that I think Juan Soto, right? Yeah, could you invest in a guy like Teoscar Hernandez? Right, he would absolutely help you over the next few years. Blake Snell, yes, he would absolutely help you win over the next few years. But again, I see a word like investment. I think Juan Soto, because that's a guy that you're putting your faith into for over the next 10 years, right? To be that centerpiece of your team, that centerpiece of your franchise, both on and off the field, right? So we'll see, right? Maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Maybe maybe this is wishful thinking. But again, I think Soto is an investment, right? Anyone's an investment, but if you're looking for the long term, yeah, that's what I think. Anyway, I could ramble on about that forever. He did go into some other things, talking about the All-Star game, that they would like to have the All-Star game no later than 2029. I've seen some things about that where the Red Sox would love to have it in 2029 because it would be the, I can't do math in my head, 30-year anniversary of the 1999 All-Star game. I think that would be pretty cool. We'll see. He talked about the development of the Fenway Corners, which is the renovation plan around Fenway Park, saying that it's kind of been a little slower than they were expecting because of the drop in real estate demand and the high interest rates, right? You're seeing that all over the country pretty much. So they're moving a little slower than they thought. In the end, and then they talked about how they're going to move their offices out of Fenway Park, and you can add them to the new buildings that they build. Anyway, these are. Oh, and then he also mentioned here that that they do not have any plans on buying the Celtics. That's been a bit of a whisper out there. I guess the Celtics they beat the Cavs last night, ended their 15-game win streak. How about the Celtics, man? Is Boston back? We just need the Patriots to start getting back into it. Just saying. Well, the Bruins, I guess, they don't have their coach anymore. What can you do? Anyway, not buying the Celtics. He also mentioned how getting golf into it, getting involved with the PGA, that kind of took a lot of time out of their schedules last year. But now that that's done, I think that's also a good sign, right? They got that. Remember that whole thing, right? We're thinking you're focused more on buying golf. Partnering up with the PGA or whatever it was, right? And we're thinking, what's going on with the Red Sox, man? What are we doing? Anyway, these are really promising comments, right? Has anyone been signed? They got Zavala today, minor league deal. Okay, all right, sure, yeah, all right, cool, okay. But we need to start seeing some action. I was just talking about this with a buddy today, saying, I don't know, is it just me or was this time last year slow? I don't know what it was. Maybe I was just busy with other things. I don't know. Am I going crazy? I thought it was a little busier last offseason. I don't know. Anyway, but diving into kind of what we've already been talking about with the Red Sox offseason, right? No, but now that we've heard these comments about possibly going over the CBT, I think we can bite into this a little bit more. Now, let's go to Red Sox Payrolls. Go follow him on Twitter. He says here, and of course, I cannot go all the way down, even though I could earlier. So as of right now, taking a look here, the estimated current payroll, according to Red Sox Payrolls, is right at $178 million. The CBT, the first level of the CBT is at 241. So if I'm doing math in my head, what is that? Right around 63 million, so 241. One thing about me, everyone, is I cannot do math in my head. It is, I can barely think straight as it is. Doing math, almost impossible. 63 million roughly. But let's say they want to go over that first CBT. Well, let's take a look at the CBT, the competitive balance tax rules. Now, the first year, if you're over it, you get 20% tax on all overages, right? So if you go over by 10 million, you get taxed 2 million, right? 20%. That goes until you go over the $20 million mark. So if you're over $20 million, well, then you get an additional 12% tax. So if the Red Sox went $21 million over, or if they went to $262 million, they would get taxed a total of 32%, which is 20% for the first year, 12% for going over by 20 million. So my guess here, I know we're excited. We're all thinking, oh, we're going to be like Steve Cohen now. We're going to, no. I think, let's be a little rational here. I wonder if the Red Sox are okay with going over the CBT, but not going over the 20 million mark, right? So that means they would have an additional $19 million to play with, right? So keep it at 260, a little bit lower. So that gives the Red Sox quite a good amount of wiggle room there. So if you're at 178 million and you're working with a $260 million budget, well, 260 minus 178.3, you're looking at right under $82 million to play with. That's a nice chunk of change right there. And you have some flexibility to go out there and make some things happen. Let's just have fun. Let's have some fun here. Juan Soto, $45 million per year. Fangraphs, they are estimating 13 years, $585. I think it's going to go 14 or 15 years, to be completely honest. I feel like it's going to get up there. Let's say, so 45 million, let's say it's 14 years. That's $630 million, right? But let's say $45 million per year, right? $45 million per year, right? So if you have, let's just say $80 million, a nice flat, even number, $80 million to play with. 80 million minus 45, you still got $35 million to play with, right? So let's take a look here, right? Let's say we get Soto, right? Who else could you go after, right? Well, I think you can make the argument, could you still go add a right-handed bat? Teoscar would be nice, right? I guess there's been some rumblings out there. Marino Papen, he is up to Marino Papen kind of things. I know he has missed on a lot of things in the past. I know people are not very happy with the man over the last couple of years, but he has been putting out there that there could be some contact between the Red Sox and Teoscar. Well, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if that's true. I know a lot of people like to say, oh, no, you said Bogarts was coming back. You said this, it didn't come true. But, I mean, would we really be surprised if the Red Sox and Teoscar were talking at this point? I wouldn't be. They wanted him last offseason, right? He wanted to come to Boston, right? I'm just saying. But could you go at a right-handed bat in Teoscar? Sure, they're estimating right around $23 million. That if you are looking at a $260 million budget, and again, that's not anything that I've seen. That's just what I'm guessing, right? If maybe they're looking at a 260 on the budget, right? I don't know. I would imagine if they wanted, so if you had $80 million to play with, take 45 off for Soto, $35 million. I would think they would probably like to invest that in some pitching. Well, Blake Snell, I mean, they're projecting 4 years, $120 million. I honestly could see something like that. I could maybe see a little bit lower because of the injuries that he's been having. But when you factor in projections, I mean, yeah, you're looking probably something close to $30 million. Blake Snell, he was a 3-win pitcher this past year, which is worth right around $25 million, $8 million per win. And if he's projected for something right around 3.5, well, then you're looking at $30 million right there in value. So, he's 32. I would imagine he's not going to be getting a long-term deal at this point. So, yeah, I mean, I could see a 4-year deal for Blake Snell. I think that makes some sense. Maybe 5. Maybe they do like an option kind of a year. But, I would imagine if you got $80 million to play with, go land Soto, go get Snell, go trade for Crochet. All of a sudden, your rotation's looking amazing. You got a lot happening in the lineup there, obviously, with Soto. I'm also leaving out one thing, though. There is also the one contract of Masataka Yoshida, right? Masataka Yoshida, $18 million per year. I thought it was a little higher than that. So I thought he was at like 18.6. Wasn't that what he was at? 18.6? Anyway, but whatever, right around 18 million bucks. Yeah, I thought Yoshida was at 18.6. I don't know why. Am I missing something? Red Sox payroll has him at 18. I don't know, whatever. But let's say you could move Yoshida, right? That has been a talking point this offseason, okay? Yoshida, let's say listen, the Red Sox have done this, right? They have been okay with eating money, right? They did it with Chris Sale. They did it with David Price. Remember with David Price? They ate like half the contract for the final 2 years of the deal? 3 years? I can't remember exactly. But they were eating $16 million per year. I think, honestly, if they could maybe eat $8 million of it for the rest of the deal and they save themselves $10 million, well, you got another $10 million to play with. So if you can move Yoshida, they have a budget of $260. Well, then you got $90 million to play with. That's Soto. That could be Snell, right? But, then could also be, you want to maybe add something else, right? You got someone like Tanner Scott out there. I think he would be an amazing add. If you wanted to go a little cheaper with the pitching, Jack Flaherty, he's not going to be Snell money. Max Fried, you're probably looking at around $25 million. Let's say you did Max Fried. So yes, DPC fresh. It is 18 on Massa. I don't know why Fangraphs, they're saying 18.6. Yeah, because 90. I don't know why Fangraphs says 18.6. Oh, it's the AAV. I'm sorry. It's the AAV. Thank you. But yeah, let's say you have $90 million to play with, right? Max Fried or Juan Soto, $45 million. Max Fried, $25 million. That's $70 million right there. You still got $20 million to play with. Tanner Scott, what do they project? I'm thinking Tanner Scott's probably going to be around $18 million per year. What do they got here for Tanner Scott? Let's see. Tanner Scott. Oh, they're looking at $12 million. I don't know. I think Tanner Scott's going to get a bit more than that. I don't know. Whatever. Let's say $15 million. Let's split the middle. I think Tanner Scott's going to get a big contract. I don't know. I got a good feeling about that. He's been really good. But yeah, let's say $15 million per year for Tanner Scott. All right? You could do Soto, Fried, Tanner Scott. That's under $90 million. Go make a trade for Crochet, and then you got a rotation of Crochet, Houck, Fried, Bayo, Crawford. I mean, what? I mean, that's a great rotation. And then if you could add Soto, I mean, that team is looking really strong at that point with all of the young talent they have coming up. I mean, my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, this is big news. I know it might seem like, I look like I'm just like a homer for my Red Sox right now. I'm not trying to come on here and, just blow steam. I'm not trying to do that. These are big words from Sam Kennedy. I already showed you the comments that we saw last offseason. These are big comments. You don't just go out there and make comments like that unless you have a big plan to back that up, right? But we've been seeing this. We've been hearing this from the agents, giving this information to guys like Jeff Passan and Heyman and Morosi. We've been seeing these comments, but, the fact that we are getting clarification from Sam Kennedy, I don't know, man. Over the years, the Red Sox, when they get bad PR, when they are not doing very well in the public relations side of things, they always react in this kind of way. In a way, I'm not surprised to be seeing these comments, right? Obviously, 2003, right? The heartbreaking loss to the Yankees. Obviously the big talking point in the media at that point, the Red Sox are cursed, right? I mean, they had to overcome this curse, right? Are they doing enough? Why did Grady Little stay in the game? You're right. You were seeing all of these things. The Red Sox went out there. They got Kurt Schilling. They signed Keith Folk. They made the bold move with Nomar, right? And of course, yes, Theo Epstein was the one making those kind of calls, but the guy that signs off on that stuff is John Henry, okay? Go back after they won the World Series, after the 2006 season, right? You did trade for Beckett because you had to react in a way. You obviously Pedro went to the Mets. They had that 2005 season, obviously where they didn't have the pitching. They were relying on Matt Clement and David Wells. Oh, I still remember how good Matt Clement was in that first half of that 2005 season, and then he just got pummeled in the second half. He got hit unfortunately took a liner to the head. And then in the postseason, he just had nothing after that. I always remember that, man. That's stunk. But you're relying on Matt Clement, David Wells. You had to go out there and get pitching. Josh Beckett was the answer, but that was a bold move, right? You gave up one of the top prospects in baseball in Hanley Ramirez. Hanley Ramirez was a highly regarded prospect at the time. Him and Anibal Sanchez in that deal. After the 2006 season, right? Another disappointing year. They put on the full court press that offseason. They went and got Daisuke when everyone thought that guy was going to go to the Yankees. Everyone on the planet. You see the people that say here today, there's no way Roki Sasaki, it does not go to the Dodgers. I'm not kidding. I was seeing those same exact comments about Daisuke. Everyone thought he was going to go to the Yankees. Everyone thought the Yankees were going to blow away the bidding for the posting fee. He was a Yankee. It was already done. Like, people already checked it off that he was going to be a Yankee. And all of a sudden, the Red Sox came out of nowhere, and they outbid the Yankees by $20 million. Just saying. And they made the huge signings of, J.D. Drew, Julio Lugo at the time, right? Keep going further, right? Couple of disappointing seasons. 2010 was the bridge year. Remember, they messed up by saying it was the bridge year. 2011, right? Yes, Carl Crawford did not work out, but holy cow, that was a big contract. Adrian Gonzalez, right? Massive extension. They react, right? Go to the beer and chicken. The whole beer and chicken thing. You brought in Bobby Valentine, right? That ended up being just a nightmare in itself. But after all that, they had a good core. They had a good core of players already in place, but they had to kind of go at a few guys. And they did catch lightning in a bottle, but it worked out. Won a World Series in 2013, right? Go back to, the couple of years, with Ben Cherington, right? Couple of years where they just couldn't really find their way, right? Remember, you had that year. Who's the ace, right? They didn't have it. They just couldn't figure it out. Ben Cherington, he had that, that good little run there where he put together the 2013 team. It was pretty pivotal when it came to player development within the Red Sox organization, but they had to react to that. He was getting not great looks, in the media, and people were questioning, like, what's going on here? They moved on from him, went to Dave Dombrowski, 2018 World Series, right? Made all those moves leading up to that. Chris Sale, David Price, that's another one. The Red Sox looked terrible after they lost John Lester. Remember that? He looked so bad, right? John Henry flew out to the ranch. I guess he brought a scrapbook or something with him. He was trying to say, Lester, man, you got to come back. We made a mistake. We lowballed you. But he was sold on a vision for the Cubs. He left. He reacted. David Price, right? They put together that team, right? But then Dave Dombrowski. Everyone started wondering, the 2019 season, after you won a World Series, People are thinking, oh, wow, that was a bummer of a season. What happened? You look at the farm system. Oh, man, this farm's not looking very good. Is the future of the Red Sox looking okay? Yes, we got some good players at the major league level, but this farm's not looking all that great. They reacted. They got rid of Dave Dombrowski, brought in Chaim Bloom, right? This is what they do. They react over the years. They have had a rough few, but also combined with that is they make sure it's the right time, right? When they have a good core of players in place, right? Go back to 2007, right? You had Dustin Pedroia, Jacoby Ellsbury, Papelbon, right? You had a good core there. 2013, you obviously you had Ortiz, obviously, in 07 as well. You still had Manny under contract. Go to 2013, you had Ortiz, you still had Pedroia, right? You still had, you had Buchholz, you had Ellsbury, right? You had a good core. 2018, right? Bogarts, Mookie, Devers, right? They made those moves. That's how they've been. They react to when times have been tough, and they have the good timing. They have the cores in place. They got a core in place now. Combine that with how these last few years have gone. It's been a painful 3 years. Listen, again, I'm not trying to blow smoke up at anyone over here, but over the years, this is what they do. And again, I'm not saying they're going to go out there and land Soto, but I think they're going to give it a really good shot. And I think they're at least going to put forth a strong effort. Will that be enough? I don't know. At the end of the day, but I do think they're going to make good moves. I think these are huge words. They are not going to say, I'm going to tell you this right now as well. They are not going to make they're not going to say these words unless they actually really plan on giving their best effort and going all out. And that's another thing you can also think about too. When they want to go land guys, they go land the guys. Daisuke beat out the Yankees by $20 million. David Price beat out the Cardinals by, what was it, 30, 40 million bucks? Whatever it was. Yes, they've missed out on some guys in the past, right? Mark Teixeira, right? Missed out on him. Billy Beane. Go back to Billy Beane, 2003. There's been a lot of examples where the Red Sox, when they got their sights set on something, they will shock you. No one expected the Red Sox to beat the Yankees for Daisuke. No one thought the Red Sox were going to blow away the Cardinals for David Price like they did. Could they maybe do the same thing with Juan Soto? I don't know. Probably thinking about it, probably not. But you never know. You don't know what these guys have up their sleeve. We could sit here. We could play armchair GM all we want. We can all sit here and act like experts all we want. We don't know anything. I don't know anything. I'm just going off what I've seen over the last 25 years. These are good comments, right? I just mentioned earlier the bridge year comment, right? That blew up in their face. Look at last year. Look, honestly, you want to refer back to history? Remember the bridge year comment? Last year? Full throttle? Look at what they did the year after they said the bridge year comment. They went out there and they got Carl Crawford and Adrian Gonzalez. Last year was full throttle. What are they going to do the year after? I don't know. I feel good about it, though, and I feel hopeful. These are the words that I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for something like this for a while. And last year, I had nightmares about Jordan Montgomery as I'm caressing my head on my pillow, and I was in a cold sweat every night thinking, Jordan Montgomery, did he sign? I was checking Twitter. Montgomery, is he here? And nope, still hasn't signed, right? Nope, nothing. Just saying, everyone. Just saying. But I'm going to wrap it up there, everyone. I see a lot of you in the comments here. You've been quite talkative here. Robert Little, I see you here. Freed wants the West Coast. Will the West Coast want Freed? That's my answer to that. Absolutely. He can go to the West Coast. He's from the West Coast. There's been some rumors, some rumblings that maybe he would like to go back out West. Will the West Coast want him? Right? Sure. Right? I can get into that all day. We'll just have to wait and see. Alex Boswell, David Ortiz is our most valuable asset. Absolutely. David Ortiz is huge, man. I'll say, who knows how much weight that has, because really it comes down to what's the offer going to be? How strong is the offer going to be? Are you sold on the vision? I think Ortiz can help with the vision. Ortiz can't really help you with the dollars, though. Maybe unless he goes in there and kicks down the door like Big Bird, right? Maybe David Ortiz can do something like that. I don't know. He might have to pay for a new door. He could probably kick down the door, but, maybe Ortiz could have some kind of a, a hand in that. I don't know. I should have asked David. Honestly, I met David. Well, I don't want to say I met David Ortiz. I got a picture with David Ortiz like a couple of months ago. I wish I asked David Ortiz at the time, are we going to get Juan Soto? I should have asked him it. I missed my chance. Anyway, but everyone, I'm going to wrap it up there. I've gone long enough here tonight. I usually try to keep these right around 30 minutes, and I've gone almost 45 minutes here, right at 45 minutes. But everyone, thank you for joining me tonight. These are big words. This is big, and we had to come on here, do an emergency stream here. But let me know your thoughts. Go to the comments after this, after we're done here, not the chat. Go to the comments on the video. Go tell me what you're thinking here. Do you buy these words? Do you think there's weight to these words? What do you think we're going to do? Let me know. Put your off-season plans in the comments. I'm curious to see what you think. Everyone, if you can, on the way out, hit that like button for me. If you are new, think about subscribing. We are trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. We are building a good community here at Fenway Faithful. It's been fun so far, and I'm expecting it to get even more fun. Everyone, go have yourself a great night, and I'll talk to you next time.